For the most realistic steering system available on the market, look no further than Sim Steering from Leo Bodnar. Designed and hand-built at the home of British Motorsport's Silverstone circuit, it's extensively used by professional driver training centres and race teams including Formula 1 since 2010. The high precision and completely linear response coupled with high strength provides the ultimate in realistic steering force feedback. Visit simsteering.com. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and our weekly broadcast of the Skip Barber 2K Cup. We are on round 12. We are bringing you this week's race from a Sebring modified layout. My name is Lee Thompson. I'm joined in the booth by my regular companion Conrad Venter. Good evening, Conrad.
Good evening, Diego. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm interested to see a race here at this modified version of Sebring International Raceway. It's not a layout I've come across before, Conrad, but they cut out a big chunk of the middle of the traditional lap.
Yeah, they come down the main straight and then they take turn one, and then it looks like they cut and only complete the back end of the circuit again before the start finish line. So it is really a big section that they cut out, and there's not a whole lot of corners in this on this particular version of the track.
And what's interesting as well is that what you imagine of Sebring's flagship corner, if you like, the corner that everyone would think of at last turn 8 and 9, is actually very different here in the modified section. Actually avoid completely the really famous bumpy section of that corner, and I go out a bit further, as we'll see later on in the race. Right, so the guys are in the process of just finishing up qualifying now. I know a couple of people have already completed their final lap. Sebastian Job, for instance, isn't going to improve any further on his time. A couple of fast cars still continuing around now before we give any kind of real good results. So Graham Carroll looked very, very quick in practice. He's down in 9th position at the minute. He's got at least one lap to go, as has Ricardo Ferreira. He's heading down the back straight at the moment as well. And they probably look to be the two names that could be possibly challenging at the sharp end, currently headed by Vinicius Rocha. Yeah,
with Sebastian Job, I think, did well to get himself onto a provisional front row there. He was only 9th fastest in practice, and he's gone 2/10 quicker in qualifying than he did in practice as well.
Yeah, I'm just watching Graham Carroll now coming down the back straight into this different version of turn 8 and 9, where they go much further out beyond the original corner and end up on a nice smooth bit of tarmac before cutting back across on the bumps. Graham Carroll now comes over the start finish line. We'll see if he improves from his 9th position previous lap, and he does improve by one whole position up to 8th. Looks like he is finishing up now, so that's Graham Carroll done. And we've got 3 cars continuing around still, so we've got Bart Hoogmid, Rob Reed, Floris Blescher, and 4th driver, in fact, Duncan Coppedge, just coming through turn 1 as well.
Yeah, Bart Hoogmid leaving it quite late to get his laps in. It's only about 2.5 minutes left, and he's just started his 2nd lap.
So this is the penultimate round of this season of the Skip Barber 2K Cup. The official series is a finishing, of course, this week, but we've got a bonus round to finish up the Skip Barber 2K Cup next week at Suzuka, I believe it's going to be. So that's not going to leave much opportunity for much more movement in the championship standings. Currently we've got Sebastian Job with what looks like a pretty comfortable lead, 48-point lead over Vinicius Rocha in 2nd. Ricardo Ferreira then a good chunk further behind in 3rd, with Philip Labour just 8 points in fact behind him. Bart Glatt then in 5th, with Graham Carroll, who we were seeing a minute ago, in 6th. Matteo Brancini in 7th, Matt Defoe 8th, Marco Derricks in 9th, and Chris McGowan in 10th. It looks very close between sort of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. We can see some movement in there, but otherwise it's seeing whether Ricardo Ferreira and Philip Labour, which of those two take the 3rd spot in the championship.
Yeah, I wish it could be as easy as that to say do the math and work out who's won the championship or who's on the verge of doing so. But this particular championship has got all kinds of bonus points and penalty points. So I mean, it's not going to be over until the very last lap of the very last round next week.
So it looks like Bart Hogemid is still continuing around for another lap. He has improved each time so far, so he's moved up into 11th position now with a 1 minute 19.085, so pretty good to start off. I don't think he's going to have time though to finish the next lap he's on, so I think that's going to be his improvement over with. We've got Floris Blecher coming through over the start finish line now. He's currently in 26th and he doesn't manage to improve at all on his time. I think they're both continuing around, but I don't think they're going to get their laps in. So we'll start going through the provisional grid results. So it's congratulations, it looks like, to Vinicius Rochevent for taking about pole position, 10th and a half quicker than Sebastian Job in second. Philip Leibert's had a stronger qualifying here than maybe we've seen in the last few rounds, so he's qualified in third position, another 10th and a half behind, with Ricardo Ferreira then in fourth. So them two the two drivers battling for that third and fourth in the championship as well, so they're third and fourth on the grid to start off with. We've got then Bart de Laat in fifth, with a new name for the Skip Barber 2K Cup of Norbert Sulzer in sixth, so good first outing for him. We've got Stein Shorthurst then in seventh, with Graham Carroll in eighth, not really able to show his time maybe that he got in practice. We've got Marco Derrickson in 9th, with Mike Matheson in 10th, Bart Hogemid, who we were watching a minute ago, in 11th, and Ricardo Ferreira in 12th. Rob Reed then in 13th, with Dario Frontini in 14th, Chris McGowan in 15th, and Duncan Coppedge in 16th, Dan Nygaard 17th, Alex Dix in 18th, Kartik Pai in 19th, with Matt Defoe in 20th, Daniel Palez in 21st, and Etienne Dilovich in 22nd, Clive Armstrong in 23rd, and Rob Adams in 24th. In 25th we've got Edward Cavalier, and 26th is Floris Blecher, 27th then is Bill Lawrence, and 28th is Kevin Weirman, 29th is Peter Joyce, and 30th is Franz Castillo, and our last qualifier is Victor Ansenzio in 31st. So yeah, 31 qualifiers looks like a good strong grid for this penultimate round.
Yeah, I can't wait for this to get started. Turn 1 should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be that very, very quick turn 1. They've got a reasonable run to the corner, so they're sort of halfway down that front straight on the line. Yeah, quick turn 1, but then I think if we're going to see any instance, it's going to be into the heavy braking zone for that double apex turn 2 and 3. That looks pretty tricky on your own, let alone with 31 cars all trying to stream into the corner. I can hear the revs thinking about starting to build up, so I think we've got a few seconds to go yet until the lights go green. We've got 31 laps of this short Sebring modified circuit.
Yeah, it looks like there's just 1 or 2 cars still missing from the grid, so they should be get going pretty soon.
So Vinicius Rocher on pole position, he's got the inside line for turn 1, but then actually the outside potentially for turn 2. So revs a build, and green flag drops for round 12 of the Skip Barber 2K Cup. It's always a pretty even getaway from all of the cars here, but actually Philip Leibert's got a good little run. He might have a sneak up the inside of Sebastian Job, with Ferreira looking to go around the outside of him at the same time. Vinicius Rocher looks pretty clear up front. Philip Leibert side by side with Ferreira, as is Bart de Laat and our new name of Norbert Sulzer. Into turn 2 now, heavy braking. Oh, somebody is very, very deep on the brakes, just about manages to avoid everybody, I think. First dozen cars look fairly clean as they go through, but I hear contacts in the background. Oh, big accident now.
Stein Shorthurst has made some contact with Mike Matheson after he overshot into turn 2.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It looked like the first, I think, 9 cars get through pretty cleanly, and then yeah, big contact after that. So we'll see how that turns out. I think somebody's had a corner cut. Who is that going slowly? Sebastian Job, I think that is. Sebastian Job got a corner cut, I think, towards the end of the lap, and he has had to back right off. He's been relegated all the way down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th position, I think, and he's still going very slowly. So maybe it wasn't a corner cut. Maybe he's had something else. So we'll keep an eye on him. But Sebastian Job looks to be out the hunt now for the race win.
Yeah, Peter Joyce has had a moment as well, losing the back end, going to the third to last corner, and he's got a rear bent wing as well.
So yeah, really all did kick off there in that turn 2, 3 tight section on that first lap as we expected. So Vinicius Rocha now comes back into turn 1 from the lead. Ricardo Ferreira in second with Philip Labour in third. We've got Graham Carroll then in fourth with Bart de Laat in fifth. Stein Shorthurst then in sixth. Bart Hugmid in seventh. Marco Derricks in eighth with Norbert Sulzer. He's had a bit of an issue. He's in ninth and is side by side along with Sebastian Job there. So they're battling for ninth and 10th. Sebastian gets pushed to the outside. I think he takes to the grass on the exit. And not a good start to the race for Sebastian there. He's currently in that 10th position.
Yeah, he's got front wing damage as well, and yeah, he's. I don't think his car's feeling too well. But Duncan Coppish, who just overtook him, is driving without any front wing on the car.
So Graham Carroll's had a good start to this race from his qualifying position. He's up into third position now. He's trying to take the inside into this final corner from Philip Labour, so battling for this third position. Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? Graham Carroll just about hangs his nose in there, so he's able to keep that inside line. Philip Labour has to give him the space, and Bart de Laat now will try to capitalise as they take the run back into the start-finish line again, and he has got a good exit as well. So Philip Labour now having to defend from Bart de Laat. In fact, it's more like he's attacking, in fact, Graham Carroll. So Bart de Laat didn't manage to get the run in the end. Philip Labour straight back on Graham Carroll, and he's got that position back as they head into turn 1. And Graham Carroll tried to hang around the outside there, took a big chunk of gravel with him on the exit, just about managed to keep the car straight. Philip Labour now runs wide into turn 2. He's taken to the grass on the exit, and looks like the guys are really struggling here. Looks like the track is pretty slippy for them, and exits of these corners look to be where the hardest work is. So Vinicius Rocha, Ricardo Ferreira are scampering away, whilst Carroll, Labour, Bart de Laat and Stein Shorthurst now all squabble for that third position. So they're really backing up into the cars behind. Bart Hugmid is almost on that group now. Marco Derricks isn't far behind. Norbert Sulzer. That's almost a 6-car group now, 7-car group that we've got heading down that back straight.
Just quickly step in, Lee. Looks like Conrad's still having these PC issues, but looks like Marco coming under a bit of pressure here into the final corner.
Yeah, and Graham Carroll diving back up the inside on Philip Labour again. So Graham Carroll now has taken that position back. I think that's 3 times in this one lap that they've changed positions already. Philip Labour trying to hang in there. He's just about got the inside again now for turn 1, and after losing that position in the last corner for the second lap in succession, he's going to take it back into turn 1 for the second lap in succession. Bart de Laat not able to quite follow him through, but Stein Shorthurst getting right involved there as well. Just runs a little bit deep into turn 1 perhaps.
Marco Derricks into the pits as well. He must have had some issue there, or perhaps just again just trying to get out of it early, but that seems way too early for a pit stop.
Yeah, so Philip Labour did manage to hold on to that position, didn't run wide on the exit at turn 2-3 this time, so he's going to have Graham Carroll in his draft again, coming down this back straight, trying to repeat his move from the previous laps. Sebastian Job now looks to be recovering a little bit. He's closing back on this group. He's got Duncan Coppage that he's about to dispose of, I think, as he comes down the back straight. And actually then he's not going to be very far at all from this little pack, so perhaps he's just adjusting to that damage he suffered in the opening lap.
Yeah, I think last time by it flashed up that he had fastest lap of the race, so if he is having to adapt to it, he's done it already and he's up to speed. I think it was just a case of a slowdown penalty, and do you know what, I think he got one the following lap as well, because that was where Duncan got past him too, so we have to keep an eye on that. Guy's getting forced out in that sort of where the switches from the traditional layout to this modified circuit. Seems like guys are picking up some corner cut penalties around there.
Ricardo Ferreira is feeling pretty strong here at the circuit. He's gained over a second on Vinicius Rocha in his last lap and a half or so, and he's right on Vinicius' gearbox now. So that's going to be a good battle now for that first position. Philip Labour has held on to third for now, and we really have got this 7-car group now. So even Norbert Sulzer has well and truly caught up into this little pack at the front.
Yeah, all that battling just effectively lost them any chance to get slipstream off of Ricardo there. So I think this is something that we've seen quite often this season, is this little sort of pack just behind the front 3 or 4 usually find themselves battling really hard in those opening laps, and that's where the leaders scamper away.
Bart de Laat needs to be careful not running into the back of Philip Labour here as he tries to go around the outside of Graham Carroll, but in the end Graham Carroll braked so deep he went up the inside of Philip Labour, so that's going to be a rinse and repeat move for those two. I think we can expect to see Philip Labour getting a drive out that final corner and looking to take that inside line into turn 1. It looks like he's going to be able to do that as well. Bart de Laat is right in the draft this time as well. We're almost making it 3 wide as they come into turn 1, but Bart de Laat is going to be the car in the middle there. Graham Carroll might just get pushed to the outside. Oh, Bart de Laat I thought just misjudged the turn in initially, but got away with it. No contact. Graham Carroll hands around the outside of Philip Labour. Is he going to be brave on the brakes into turn 2? No, he slots back in and Philip Labour holds that position.
Yeah, we were on board actually with Bart de Laat there, and we physically saw him get out of the gas. He had to do that to avoid that 3 wide. He didn't fancy any of that at this stage, so we've seen that from Bart mostly through this season actually. Very sensible, picks his moves sensibly.
So we're expecting a bit of pack racing looking at the layout in advance of this race, and that's just what we're getting at the minute with this little train of cars heading down. And I'm looking up further up the track as well, and I see Ricardo Ferreira now really in a position to pressure Vinicius Rocha as they head into the final corner as well, but he decides to hang on for at least another lap for now until he makes a move. Graham Carroll up the inside as normal, frankly, into this final corner. Maybe doesn't quite get the run through the corner as he has been, so Philip Labour is already alongside as they come out that final corner again. Bart de Laat gets a good drive off the corner again, and yeah, it feels like I'm watching the same lap again and again as they come out of the final turn into turn 1.
Yeah, I think at some point Bart's going to have to do something just to mix this up. He gets in between them and lifts out of it, and nothing really happens. He's going to have to try and go for something if he's going to make this work.
Oh, look, very, very close there on the braking between Graham Carroll and Philip Labour. Stein Shorthurst had a great opportunity to move up the inside of Bart de Laat as well. He might even get a run on Philip Labour, but not quite, so he tucks in. So Bart de Laat has been relegated a spot, and I think we're missing a car from that little pack now as well. There was one extra there earlier on, and we'll try and find out who that was. Oh, just I see that Norbert Souza goes into the back of Bart Hoogmid there, under braking into turn 7, and they've got a real train of cars running down again. I'm seeing Graham Carroll just making a little bit of a gap on the cars behind us there, squabbling away. Shorthurst now is the car to go up the inside of Philip Labour under braking to the final corner. Here comes Norbert Souza as well. Norbert Souza much later in the race. He's going to get 2 positions into the corner there, so he takes Bart de Laat as well. Bart de Laat's going to get relegated to the back of this pack now. Bart Hoogmid is going to take that position from him as well. I thought Souza had outbraked himself well and truly there, but good judgment. So 2 spots up for Souza, 2 spots down for Bart de Laat.
Yeah, just watching these guys going into turn 1 again. I think if they continue battling like that, Sebastian's going to be on them in perhaps 3 or 4 laps, just 1.6 seconds behind, not quite picking up the draft at this point. That's
big sideways moment for Shorthurst.
And still continues it through the second phase of that sort of double right-hander there.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like these guys are finding this track pretty slippery, either in the weather conditions or in the configuration. Back up front, nothing doing still between Ricardo Ferreira and Vinicius Rocha. Ferreira's sitting a couple of car lengths back, so just sitting in Vinicius' slipstream for now, waiting to see how it plays out, perhaps as they get into the strategy phase of racing. But for any new viewers who are unfamiliar with this series, they have got a mandatory pit stop to make. They're all limited on fuel. We're expecting that typically in the middle, sort of 2/3 of a race or so. So we, Norbert Souza again, much later on the brakes than Philip Labour. I thought it was going to go up the back of him there, and as a result, he lost the momentum through the corner, and Bart de Laat has regained one of his spots that he lost the previous lap. So Norbert Souza confident on the brakes, but if you've got a car there, he just needs to carry the momentum into the corner maybe a little bit more.
Ricardo put the fastest lap of the race in that time by, so maybe thinking about it, I don't know. I think maybe, well, something that we spoke about last weekly, I think, was the fact that he hadn't been waiting behind the leaders. He'd been pressuring them, forcing moves, slowing each other down, but it looks like he's perhaps took on board what's being said and thought, well, I need to do the same thing, dive away, drive and have this battle up front alone rather than a 5 or 6 car group. The other thing we need to keep an eye with Ricardo is whether or not he has a really long stop. We've seen that many times, a lot longer than everyone else. Doesn't seem to be cutting his fuel off, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Sebastian Job now, Alex, as you predicted, is very almost on the back of the grid now. He's got a little bit of a tow, I think, from this group of cars ahead of him, so he's going to be there mixing it very soon, I think. Further back, we've been focusing on his leaders pretty much the whole time so far. I'm seeing a nice little group now. Matt Defoe, Kartik Pai, Etienne Delevic and Alex Dix looking to go up the inside of Delevic, whilst Defoe has to defend from Kartik Pai all into the turn 8, turn 9 section. Delevic might even make 2 spots, or Alex Dix might even make 2 spots by getting a run, and Kartik Pai now as a head towards turn 1, and Matt Defoe has a moment of breathing. And Graham Carroll now has been caught back up after he just managed to break away a little bit in 2 laps ago now as the cars behind him squabbling, so he's well and truly been sucked back up in that draft. Bart Delat looked like just struggled a little bit on the exit of turn 3 that time. He's having to defend now from Norbert Sulzer as they head into head through the S's section to come onto the back straight again, and he does lose that position, so Bart Delat relegated back down into 7th position.
Yeah, we've got a saucy little battle building up here for everybody from 3rd, which is Graham Carroll, all the way back to 9th place, which is Sebastian Job.
Yeah, Sebastian doing a great job of closing back up on his back, so we could well see him have a sniff of a podium maybe even by the end of this race. But it all depends on how these pit stops play out. We've seen, as we were saying a minute ago, big differences in times of pit stops in previous races can really affect the order massively as we head into the second half race. We're already on lap 10, so we're already a third of the way into the race as Stein Shorthurst looks to go up the inside now. Graham Carroll's headed to turn 1, so this is going to be 3rd position for Shorthurst as they come through the corner, but Graham Carroll able to hold the momentum around the outside much better that time, and he actually held on to that position. I was expecting him maybe to have to concede the spot, but nothing doing, so Shorthurst remains in 4th for now, but he's looking to push on. He's feeling confident in the car and at this track.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they sort of keep going through corners side by side and keep battling is not really helping them either. I mean, it just helps for everybody to keep together, nobody really to pull away.
And Sebastian Job now looking to make a spot on Bart Hoogmed. He is going to be able to move up into that 8th position, I think, once they get to the braking zone here at the end of the back straight, whilst Shorthurst defends hard for Philip Labour. They're 3 wide coming into turn 8. Graham Carroll on the outside, Shorthurst on the inside, and they all pretty much end up as they were. Norbert Sulzer, is going to have a good exit coming out of the final corner now. They're 3 wide heading up the front straight here. This is going to get a little bit tasty now as they head in pairs now up to turn 1. Shorthurst still has the high ground on that inside line. Graham Carroll tries to carry it around the outside again, whilst Philip Labour does the same as Sulzer. Oh, Graham Carroll has a big sideways moment onto the grass. Is he going to slow it down quick enough? He does. Philip Labour takes that spot. Norbert Sulzer just about hangs around the outside as well. Graham Carroll has to concede the place in the end, so 2 spots lost from Carroll, but could have been much worse. Did well to gather it back up after his trip onto the gravel. Sebastian Job right in the mix now.
Yeah, those first 2 corners, all the action through there has enabled him to close right up to them, and now they're one big group. So just seeing Sebastian Job trying to work his way through this group should be pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to have an opportunity on this next corner now on Bart Delat as they all line down this back straight, sitting in each other's draft. Sebastian Job, is he going to peel out from the draft? He does. He looks to go deeper on the brakes, and Bart Delat, he goes much deeper on the brakes. Going to have to slow it down. Sebastian overcooks it. So luckily for Graham Carroll, I don't think Graham would have had any damage there. It was wheel to wheel, so I think Graham Carroll's going to escape that. But it just looked optimistic from Sebastian as soon as he hit the brakes. So Sebastian Job now, I think, has got work to do. If he's got any damage, now would be the time to pit. But he feels like he's okay, so he continues on for now. So didn't work out for Sebastian. Graham Carroll, by the way, pits, so that might have been purely reactionary in case he had any damage from that contact. That might not have been a bad idea at all. And getting out of that battle probably is going to be pretty sensible for now as well.
Yeah, they just started lap 13, so that might be a little bit early for Graham Carroll to make it to the end. We know the pit stop window is sort of between from lap 14 to lap 18. So we'll see if he can save a little bit of fuel and possibly make it to the end.
And so after that little bit of shake up there on the end of that last lap, we've got Shorthurst still remaining in third. We've got Philip Labour now under pressure, fourth and fifth from Norbert Sulzer. A little bit of a gap behind them to Bart de Laat in sixth, with Bart Hugmed in seventh. I think Norbert Sulzer's been confident on the brakes here all race so far, so he's the man to be watching in these braking zones, especially into that turn 8 section. But looks like he's going to be a little bit more patient for the moment, perhaps, and see how things develop. Back up front, Vinicius Rocha still got this couple of car length gap over Ricardo Ferreira in second.
Yeah, they've also managed to pull that gap open a couple of laps ago, about 2-3 laps ago. It was just over 6 seconds. Now the gap has gone up to 8 seconds. So all that battling at the from third downwards has helped them just to extend the gap a little bit.
Looked like Philip Labour had a little bit of a moment on the exit of turn 1 there, and then hitting the brakes into turn 2. Managed to get it slowed down okay, but lots of movement in the braking zone on the approach, so that's going to really allow Norbert the opportunity to size him up now as they head back along the back straight. Sebastian Job has recovered to 8th position. He's got Duncan Coppage all over the back of him, and we've still got this nice battle with the 4 cars behind that we saw briefly before. So we've got Kartik Pai in 10th, Etienne Delovic in 11th, Matt Defoe in 12th, and Alex Dix in 13th. Scrolling further back, the rest of the cars are strung out until we get to Chris McGowan in 16th, Floris Braysher in 17th, and Bill Lawrence 18th. So that looks like a nice little 3-car group to be squabbling away the whole race, and that pretty much speaks to be our little packs of cars that we've got going. As I wondered if Vinicius Rocha had a little bit of an issue coming over the start-finish line, but all good, just very different lines from Vinicius and Ricardo Ferreira as they begin lap 14 now. I think it's just back to you and me again, Alex. Poor Conrad having connection and PC issues, I think, today. Shorthurst still holding on to his 3rd spot, and whilst I looked away, Norbert Sulzer did take that position back from Philip Labour, so I said he was sizing him up down the back straight, and he has indeed moved up into that 4th position now.
These 3 seem to be dropping Bart de Laat here as well. He needs to try and tag back onto about 1.3 seconds away, if I'm not mistaken. That's just outside the draft zone, so he's going to have to do all that hard work. So for his point of view, he'll hope that Philippe and Norbert all start to battle this time through.
Yeah, and the next thing to keep just a half an eye on as well is that the leaders are going to have their first back markers that they're coming up to. So we've got Frank Castillo and Rob Adams, 24th and 25th, who looks to be having an interesting battle of their own. They're about to be lapped for the first time, and Norbert Sulzer is looking to pressure now Stein Shorthurst. They get about to complete another lap. I hear most laps, Alex, on the exit of that final corner there, I hear all the cars brushing the wall as Philip Labour dives into the pits, as darts Bart de Laat, I think.
Yeah, keep an eye on those two, see if there's any change of position in the pits. Pretty close, but I think it made sense for Bart to jump in there. Before he pitted in, there were 1.5 seconds down that back straight, so he had indeed lost that draft, so made sense to get in then.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Philip Labour and Bart de Laat still stationary in the pit box, waiting for that fuel to be manually cut off and cut it as fine as close as they can. Philip Labour is the first to move off as they came in. Bart de Laat doesn't look like he really lost any time over Philip Labour in the stops there, so good stop from both of them. And Floris Braysher and Bill Lawrence coming right out in between those two. They look to be battling away as well. Philip Labour gets tucked right behind Floris. Is he going to make a move straight away on this outlap? He does. Philip Labour straight up inside, and that gives them a good opportunity to build a bit of ground on behind us. Bill Lawrence. Yeah, Bill Lawrence does well to gather that back up, little half spin. Fortunately for Bart de Laat, he manages to keep out the way.
Yeah, definitely a little bit longer in the pits, half a second, so lost a little bit more time, looking at about 2.5
Vinicius
seconds now.
Vinicius Rocha, Alex, is into pit lane, so Ricardo Ferreira continues by for another lap, and then the rest of the leaders pit as well. Shorthurst, Sulzer, Bart Hugmed pits, And then we've only got Ricardo Ferreira. Then that's continued on. He's the only car to continue.
Matt Defoe continues as well. We've seen that often from Matt. Goes quite long. Who else have we got coming around here as well? This is Kevin Weirman as well. He's going to continue on. So quite a few guys staying out there.
So Shorthurst is the winner in pit lane, and Norbert Sulzer doesn't know about manually cutting off the fuel, unfortunately. So he's lost out big time after his good first half of the race. So Shorthurst comes out in front. Philip Labour comes into turn 1 as well. They're going to be side by side. Shorthurst and Labour. Labour just about gets the run limit. It was so important on that opening lap to get that move done into turn 2. That allowed him to jump ahead of Shorthurst in the pit stops there. But they're going to be battling in a draft continuing on. Bart Humig runs a little bit wide through turns 2 and 3, but Bart Delat is going to be tucked up right behind him. Graham Carroll's in the mix there, and then Norbert Sulzer is a good few seconds further behind.
Yeah, Norbert, 8 seconds, nearly slower than everybody else. It just goes to show how much of a killer that does. Let's keep an eye on Ricardo as well, because he's into the pits now as well. Every race he's been long in the stops. Let's hope that he's watched some of these back and picked up on what we keep pointing out week on week. Matt Defoe continues for another one as well, so he takes lead of the race.
Graham Carroll very, very late on the brakes into turn 8. He came from quite a way back on Bart Hugmid, but he got the car slowed down. Hugmid gave him a little bit of space, and Graham Carroll has moved up another spot. Ricardo's out 11.9 second stop, so he has indeed caught up with what's been going on, but it looks like Vinicius has had an absolute great stop and outlap as well there. Probably picked up maybe 2 seconds lead there. Just waiting for the timing screen to settle down a little bit. Yeah, Ricardo, Vinicius Rochester looked like he had a very clean outlap. He had no traffic around him at all. Was able just to focus on banging that all-important lap in. Graham Carroll pushing hard through turn 3, trying to see now if he can bridge the gap up to Shorthurst and Philip Labour ahead, who are running 3rd and 4th. I just trying to catch back up with the cameras there, sorry about that, just a little bit behind. But yeah, a lot of little individual battles going on now as I'm just flicking through, having a look, see what's going on. And Matt Defoe does now make his pit stop, so yeah, as is normal, he's able to eke out that fuel longer than anyone else. We'll see if that pays off for him with his little battle he was having with, who was it, Kartik Pai, Alex Dix, and one of the name I do apologise, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in amongst them. Just checking in with our championship leader. He's in the middle of no man's land at the moment, sat in 10th place. Bart Delat looks to go up the inside of Graham Carroll into turn 1. Bart Humig right in a mix again as well. Graham Carroll, we know, has been comfortable on this outside line, carrying that momentum through, but it's not going to be enough this time, I don't think. So Bart Delat moves up another spot into 5th. Graham Carroll right on his gearbox in the braking zone, just about manages to slow it down. Comes across Bart Hugmid just slightly under braking, but enough space between the three of those to continue undamaged. Norbert Sulzer has closed a good couple of seconds or so, I think, or maybe a second and a half on this little pack, so he's going to be making this a 4-car group at the moment, in a moment. And Sebastian Job, he is running between half a second and 3/10 quicker than this pack, so he could well claw his way back up into this this second little group.
Yeah, he's definitely made a very, very tough job for himself out there today. Can happen. He's obviously, we've got drop rounds to take into consideration, so he's still got a pretty dominant position. I'm not going to have to think that this is going to blow open the championship all of a sudden, but it will close up a little bit.
It's cleared now, Alex, but I think Stein Shorthurst was a bit unlucky with cones a moment ago. He had a cone stuck under his front wing, I think, and he looked to be dropping off the back of Philip Labour a little bit down the back straight, so he had lost quite a bit of top speed on that last lap, but it cleared for him coming through that final corner. Yeah, good old bumps on that final corner doing the job. Very, very tricky to get rid of those cones when they do get caught. Like Kevin Weirman as well, just having a little bit of a run going into turn 1. This will be for P14, sorry.
Gets that move done. Oh, it drifts out wide, loses the back end, just carries way too much speed in there. He's going to lose a place to Alex Dix, and I think he should hold on to Mike Matheson. Yeah, just a little bit too far back to pick up on that.
Yeah, and so Matt Defoe's later pit stop then did gain him a bit of time over that group behind. So Delivic and Pai are a good couple of seconds back, and Matt Defoe's got a chance of closing maybe on Duncan Coppage and getting into the top 10 perhaps if he has a good second half to this race. Back up the sharp end, finishes Rocher still having a good 3.5 second gap or so to Ricardo Ferreira in his second, but the battle that looks to be developing is between Labour and Shorthurst. So Shorthurst is gradually closing lap on lap after the pit stops, battling for that last podium spot. Bartlett holds on over Graham Carroll for 5th and 6th position, and again Norbert Souza continues just to close ever so slightly and try to claw his way into back, but a back marker struggling isn't going to help his cause as he has a big sideways moment through turn 3.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds, so just a couple of tenths outside of that draft zone. Desperately trying to get back in there if he can. Like I say, if these guys battle into the final couple of turns, that could be his opportunity to get back into the draft. Look, a little bit too far spread out ahead of him actually. I can't see that happening this lap. Bartik Pai just 0.2 of a second behind Alex Dix here. Might be close enough to get a run down this back straight this time.
Yeah, so it just feels like this race is just settling down into these individual battles a little bit after the pit stops, as you say, we have Kartik Pai and Alex Dix battling in towards turn 8 again. So Kartik Pai has got the inside line onto the into the braking zone. Kartik Pai, yeah, pretty even on the brakes for the two of them. So Alex Dix has to concede the position, and Kartik Pai moves up into that 12th position. I think that's going to be. In fact, Kartik Pai must have had a little bit of an issue last time lap because he was up with Delivic just lap before. So it's Delivic, in fact, who is in 12th. Kartik Pai must have had an issue there somewhere on that lap. And
yeah, you're right. A 1:27 lap time there, yeah, so huge problems for him. Graham Carroll still. Actually, you know, these this 5th, 6th and 7th battles really started to close back up again now. So Norbert might get his wish that those guys start to battle. Desperately needs it. He can't seem to get this down. He can maintain pace with them. Still that 1.5 seconds back, but he really needs them to start tripping over each other so that he can battle with those guys again.
And Vinicius Rocha is now beginning lap 23, so he has still got this little bit of breathing space over Ricardo Ferreira in second, but still looks like he's pushing very hard, using all of the track and more through turns 2 and 3. Not that that's any different, it seemed, for Ricardo Ferreira as well, all over the curbs and the grass. Philip Labert still just a couple of tenths ahead of Stein Shorthurst, followed by Bartlett, then Graham Carroll and Bark Humid. Norbert Souza still just gradually closing, with Sebastian Job just out of reach. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to close enough unless those cars ahead really start to hold each other up. Then we've got Duncan Coppage then back in 10th with Matt Defoe in 11th, Etienne Delivic in 12th and Daniel Pelez in 13th. Kartik Pai recovering in that 14th, and Alex Dix rounds out the top 15.
Yeah, when you're looking at the top 15, actually relatively close. I mean, 45 seconds separate all the cars at the moment, so like you say, the drafting perhaps has kept it a lot closer than what we had envisioned. I think we expected perhaps lots of different little packs and big speed differences between them, but actually everybody relatively on pace here, and I thought we would see a lot more guys get lapped.
So it feels like we're just waiting for this all to kick off again between these two different groups at the front of the pack, just into the last couple of laps. I think we're going to see fireworks between Laibert and Shorthurst, both desperate for that podium spot there. Philip Laibert needs the points over Ricardo Ferreira, so he doesn't want to give up that third spot at all. He needs to be getting as many points he can in the championship to keep that position, and I think we're going to see a pretty similar story then between Delat, Carroll, Hoogmid and our newcomer here, Sulzer. I think we're going to see some perhaps banzai moves in the last lap or two.
Yeah, Sulzer within that range now as well, just 0.8 of a second, so these next few laps critical for him to get back up and involved in this battle ahead of him.
Graham
Actually
Carroll
look like they're going to have a little run at each other.
Yeah, Graham Carroll straight past on Bart Delat there. Sulzer so late in the brakes, gives a big tack on Bart Hoogmid under braking. So hopefully for Hoogmid there's no damage, but Sulzer pushes his way up the inside into turn 9. And it looks like Hoogmid's dived into the pits, has he? So he has got damage to the rear of that car. Unlucky there for Hoogmid. I think that's going to be penalties for Sulzer post-race. That's unfortunate for him. He's had a strong outing otherwise for his first race here in the season. Yeah,
that's just unfortunate there. I think there was a little bit going on ahead of him, and perhaps combination of Hoogmid perhaps just braking tiny little bit earlier just to keep out of it, and Norbert there trying to close that final few tenths of a second that he had lost earlier, and they just met in the middle.
So I'm seeing Stein Shorthurst as close as he's been now to Philip Laibert as a head back onto the back straight. We'll see if he closes in the draft or if he lifts off and decides just to sit there still as they thunder down towards turn 8. He is still closing, but it's not going to quite be enough this lap unless he goes very brave on the brakes. I think he just lifts off slightly towards the end and is happy to remain there for now. Bart Delat is passed by Norbert Sulzer, so Norbert Sulzer makes another position for now and is now going to be chasing after Graham Carroll. Sebastian Job is almost on Bart Delat now with that little bit of squabbling at the end of the previous lap, so he might just catch a little bit of a draft and close his way up a little bit further.
Yeah, Graham Carroll just over 1 second in front of Norbert as well here, so might be able to maintain this. It's not going to be easy to draft up to him very quickly here. 6 laps to go. Having a little bit of a look further back. Cartit Pie and Alex Dick still continuing their little battle. Might have been separated quite a way on the track earlier on, but ever since that mistake, Cartit Pie not really been able to lap as quick as he had been, and he's coming under pressure.
And Bart Delat now is going to be coming under pressure from Sebastian Job as well. Sebastian looked much quicker going through the S's there at the middle of the lap. I was going to say the end of the lap of a traditional circuit, but yeah, middle of the lap a bit more here. Bart Delat looks to defend quite early. Sebastian Job stays in his slipstream, and I think he's going to be confident that he can make that move under braking. So Bart Delat looks to stay on the inside line for now. Sebastian Job lifts, I think, a little bit early maybe before the braking zone, decides he doesn't fancy anything of it on this lap and sits there for a little bit longer for now. Still not really any other movements, so Philip Laibert still having this couple of tenths over Shorthurst, and Graham Carroll is being caught in fact by Norbert Sulzer, so Norbert Sulzer's just right on his gearbox now, just a tenth between as they head into turn 1.
Yeah, a lot of 2-car battles now. These massive packs split themselves apart.
And sorry, Alex, Sulzer's by on Graham Carroll, so Graham Carroll ran, I think, a little bit hot into turn 1. He hit the apex, it seemed, but just couldn't get the car turned, ending up running much wider, and Sulzer just went straight up inside of him on the exit of the corner. So that's Sulzer up into 5th position now.
Yeah, great drive first race. It's a shame that he's perhaps going to get a little bit of a penalty perhaps at the end following that mistake just a couple of laps ago, but take nothing away, it's been a great drive, and perhaps we'll see him a little bit more next season.
And Shorthurst right in the draft again of Philip Laibert, as he has been for the last couple of laps. Again, I think he starts to lift a little bit at the end of the straight, so he's sizing up Philip Laibert for the end of the race, I think, trying to figure out where he's going to hit his braking mark and how far up alongside he's going to feel like he needs to be to really have a good opportunity to get that move done. Bart Delat's still holding off Sebastian Job, so I feel perhaps Sebastian maybe is just happy just to sit in this position if Bart doesn't make any mistakes, and perhaps he'll stay there to the end of the race. Now, otherwise I thought he might have challenged already.
Say that he's got a bit of a run on him
Coppedge.
this time. Sorry, Lee, just to interrupt. And I know you're right. He just lifted out of it again. Definitely had the run going into turn 1. He could have easily have pulled a move there, but decides just to sit and wait.
And back up front, Vinicius Rocha is negotiating some lap traffic. He's going to have 3 more of them coming up soon as well. In fact, 4 more of them. There's going to be a good grouping of lap traffic to deal with in a minute. So we're going to have Floris Becher, then Bill Lawrence, Rob Reed, Edward Cavalier, and not much further down the road is Marco Derrick. So as we get to the closing laps, Vinicius is going to be hoping he can make his way cleanly through there and not allow Ricardo Ferreira to close anymore. But whilst I was scanning through the field, perhaps Vinicius did just struggle with that last back marker, because I think Ferreira has closed a fair bit, Alex.
Yeah, I was just having a little look at that myself. I think he's also going to struggle to get past as quick as he needed to get a little bit. I don't know, it's going to be close. Just having a look at the live time in 1.1 seconds separate them as they cross the line. Might just be able to pick it up. There's a good couple of corners here.
Yeah, Vinicius Rocha was a second slower last time by, so Ricardo Ferreira did gain exactly 1 second that last lap. So Vinicius really is going to be hoping that either the race finishes before he catches these next back markers, or that he just negotiates them cleanly. They haven't got long left now, just a few laps, but yeah, this could be another little pairing developing where we've got Philip Labour still defending from Shorthurst, no change there. Souza not really able to pull away at the moment from Graham Carroll, and we have lost now Bart de Laat. So Sebastian Job is now running on his own in 7th, Duncan Coppedge then in 8th. He seems to be closing maybe on Sebastian, so Sebastian had a very slow last lap, so I think perhaps him and Bart de Laat maybe got tangled up somehow, so I think Duncan Coppedge maybe might have a sniff at Sebastian at some point, and Bart de Laat is all the way down now in 10th position, I think.
Perhaps some more admins to have a little look at what's been going on with Sebastian. He's had a bit of a scrappy race, I don't think he'll mind me saying. Caused some incidents earlier on, and yes, he's slow here. Duncan Coppedge going to make his way past, so yeah, not a good drive from Sebastian. Got those couple of slowdown penalties, and really hasn't been able to fight his way back through.
And
Shorthurst.
Stein Shorthurst has manually disconnected, so Shorthurst has gone.
Well, that's
So it's all
Labour
changed
there.
in his closing laps.
Yeah, Labour will be
Yes.
delighted with that, I think.
Yeah, as well-
not a good way to get the 3rd place, but he's not under any pressure now, so he can just bring it home.
Yeah, that really has let Labour off the hook there, because it felt like Shorthurst has been sizing him up for pretty much the whole second half of the race. Last time by, Vinicius Rocha was 2/10 slower than Ricardo Ferreira. They have got the last bit of this lap to complete, and then 1 more lap, and they are going to, I think, just about catch the first of the next back markers, Floris Blecher, who was a second slower last time by. So this could work in Vinicius' favour if he can get the draft from him down the back straight. But we'll see how this goes. I think we need to keep half an eye on them. Otherwise, then yeah, it's all over for Philip Labour. He looks pretty safe in that 3rd. Souza, he's got Graham Carroll pretty close, but I don't see much else happening there. I think our focus really can be on whether Ferreira can make up this extra bit of time. Final lap now as they cross over the start-finish line. Vinicius Rocha was 4/10 of a second slower that time by, so that's nearly 2 seconds in the last 3 laps that he's lost.
Yeah, Ricardo definitely in the slipstream now. 0.7 of a second, and looks visually closer. From what I'm looking at, gets a little bit out of shape. That might affect him. He needed an absolute perfect lap this lap if he's going to have a chance down that back straight.
Yeah, I think that back marker is going to work out alright for Vinicius to start. I think he's going to get a bit of a tow from him down the back straight, and then we'll see what happens as they head towards turn 8 and 9. I think Ricardo Ferreira is going to be too far back to do anything without an incident ahead. We'll see how the back marker looks maybe like I thought he was going to move over, but sits in the middle of a track. So Vinicius Rocha struggling for fuel.
Is it fuel? Oh, I thought maybe a slowdown penalty or something like that. There,
Yeah, maybe that explains why his last few laps have been a bit slower. So I think maybe he's coughing and spluttering. We shall see. Ricardo Ferreira gets past the back marker as well. Ricardo Ferreira is going to take this race win. Is that going to be his first race win of the season, possibly, that we've seen from him in the Skip Barber 2K Cup? So congratulations there for Ferreira. He probably thought it was all over after the pit stops, but worked out for him in the end there. He looks very happy with that, celebrating with his team up against the pit wall. Vinicius Rocha is just about going to get over the line now, just barely crawls over the line in second. Philip Labour isn't quite able to get there before him, so Philip Labour finishes in third. Norbert Sulzer then in fourth, and Graham Carroll is also out of fuel, so Graham Carroll trickling along in fifth. I think he's going to just about hold on to that, as Sebastian Job is alongside Duncan Coppage, trying to just about take this sixth position. Duncan Coppage tries to go around the outside, and Graham Carroll is going to make it to the line. Graham Carroll just finishes ahead, then Duncan Coppage, and then Sebastian Job. That was mighty close at the end there. We've got Matt Defoe coming over in eighth. Yeah, and then Hugmid then, I think, next car up. Daniel Pelez will confirm the rest of the finishes in a moment. But yeah, it was an action-packed finish to the race. Wasn't quite the fireworks I maybe expected, but yeah, disconnections, fuel issues, lots of changes.
I have to say, no matter what we get with the races in this series, the last few laps are always very exciting. Actually, I think the fact that the guys have to manually stop their fuel really spices up the series a little bit. Sorry about that in the background.
Yeah, no, it does. As I say, if traditional series, you plan it in advance, you set the fuel in advance, and if you manage to stop in the pit box, then it's basically done, isn't it? Unless you've done the maths wrong. So you're right. That manual checkup that they have to do to try and save that fractions of a second on the pit stop definitely makes it more entertaining there. So I think I'll start going through the race results, as I'm even not quite sure as to exactly where everyone finished after the shuffling round in the last couple of laps there. So Ricardo Ferreira did take that race win, so congratulations to him. He looked pretty strong in practice and in qualifying, so he was obviously confident here this week, but yeah, wasn't looking like he was going to finish 7 seconds ahead of Vinicius Rocha, who ended up in second. So that's pretty good for Vinicius's championship, with Sebastian Job struggling to score big points, and Philip Labour then in third. That victory for Ferreira wasn't what Labour needed for his championship charge, trying to hold on to that third position. Then we've got Norbert Sulzer in fourth, and we'll see what happens to him with the stewards later on. But yeah, certainly very, very strong first outing for him in this series. Graham Carroll then in fifth. He looked like he maybe had the pace in practice. He was fastest by over a tenth of practice, but couldn't quite get the race together. Maybe Duncan Coppage, I dare say that's perhaps his strongest race result for the season, in sixth position, so congratulations to him. Sebastian Job then finishing in seventh. Etienne Djelovic in eighth, with Matt Defoe in ninth. An unlucky Bart Hugman suffering the damage from Sulzer towards the end of the race there, finishes in 10th, with Daniel Pelez in 11th. Kartik Pai finished in 12th, so he finished ahead in that little battle of those four cars around him. Mike Matheson then in 13th, with Marco Derricks in 14th. Alex Dix was in 15th, with Rob Reed in 16th. Edward Cavalier in 17th. And the last runner on the lead lap was Bill Lawrence in 18th. Just to make a correction, actually, of course, it wasn't Kartik Pai who won that little battle of those cars. It was Matt Defoe for eking out his fuel an extra couple of laps, and he made up a further 2 positions as a result.
But we've got Philippe down in the ready for interview channel, so let's drag him up and have a quick word.
So welcome, Philippe. Congratulations on your podium spot. Looked like it might have been a tough end to the race, with Seinhurst seeming to be lining you up lap after lap, but in the end it was a fairly relaxed finish, it looked like.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Stein in the last 2 laps before the end. He just quit. I don't know what happened. Maybe he ran out of fuel or something. But the race was very eventful up to the pit stops. It was, I think at some point we were like 4 wide going into the last corner. It was a lot of fun. I think it was nice to watch, and I don't know what happened to Bart, because all of a sudden he dropped back, and Seb as well, so maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, we're speculating that we think there was a couple of maybe slowdown penalties for Sebastian Job early on, and then he had an instant trying to catch his way back up after he got back into your group. He went into the back of it might have probably been Bart. In fact, I think it maybe was Bart the lap that he went into the back of, unfortunately. So I think that's where them two struggled. Yeah, so strong points for you then Philippe, but Ricardo Ferreira's race win wasn't what you needed for your championship challenge.
No, it's all over now. I have to settle for 4th place, which I'm happy about, but I had hoped for more after the start of the season. But yeah, it is what it is. And congratulations to Seb, because I think he has the championship wrapped up. And yeah, I think the top 3 are locked in, so there will be no more changes, I think.
But it certainly looks much closer for the rest of the top 10 in the championship. Certainly come into this race between sort of 7th and 10th position looks very close. It'll be interesting to see how the various penalty points and bonus points affect that as they come into the final round next week at Suzuka, I believe, for our final round in week 13. Suzuka, of course, is a favourite for everyone. I presume we're running the full circuit at Suzuka, Philippe?
Yes, it will be the GP circuit, so the Formula 1 track. And it's the same track that will be used for the Skippy Big Rit race that's being held on Saturday. So it's it will be how should I say, an incentive for people to practice during week 13 for both the Big Rit and the final 2K race. And the weather will be very cold and cloudy, so there will be lots of grip. So everybody will like that.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing everyone enjoy the challenge in these little cars at this big Grand Prix circuit next week. Then, Philippe, so thank you for joining us again as you have done. We'll look forward to speaking to you again next week, and congratulations again on your podium result.
Thank you, and talk to you next week.
And so I think then, Alex, we're going to be wrapping up our commentary here this week. Vinicius Rocha has let us know that he would love to join us for an interview, but his microphone is not working. So it'll be interesting to see how disappointed he was after running out of fuel there at the end of the race. But we saw it wasn't just him. A few people seemed to just misjudge it at the end there.
Yeah, I think it's a common thing within the series. Actually, we've seen it. Sebastian made the mistake last week, and that's where Riku got that run on him. So the guys really push it. They know how much time can be made by just nailing that pit stop. And importantly as well is it can break the draft as well. This is what they try and do. They try and absolutely nail that in, that out lap, the pit stop, everything. That way they just get that 1.5 seconds. And if they've got a little bit of a speed advantage, that's where they really make it pay and they come under a lot less pressure. But I think this is a couple of weeks in a row now we've seen the guys up the front just try and push it a little bit too much, and it's ended up costing them.
Well, we look forward to seeing similar action, I'm sure, for the season finale next week at Suzuka, as we've said. Yeah, it's going to be a corker, I think, Alex, to finish up the season, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Great season, and I think we'll have a great final round, and hopefully we can work out all the permutations to work out who's going to do what and where, depending on the results they get.
And I believe we're pleased to announce as well, Alex, that we are going to be providing the same broadcasts again for Season 4 of the Skip Barber 2K Cup. It's going to be a short little season to match into the official iRacing season.
Yeah, I haven't actually had 100% definitive word from Philippe. I hope we can do. I hope everything's staying the same. I did see on the thread that it looked like the times and everything was going to stay the same. So, yeah, I hope we can do it. I know the service is there for the same times and that. So, it's, I know there was some debates going on whether it was going to be moved, and we struggled to do it on the Saturday. So, hopefully, it'll continue and we'll be here. But yeah, no final confirmation on it right yet. Sorry about that.
I'm sure Philippe can provide that to us then next week in his post-race interview at Suzuka. So thank you to everyone for joining us, and we shall see you all again next week. Remember, you can find us as normal on Facebook and on Twitter, Apex Racing TV, and feel free to leave any questions or general comments and feedback, and we'll try and look at them as quickly as we can and continue from there. So thank you to everyone again. Fingers crossed for Conrad that his PC behaves himself a little bit more, so he doesn't have the frustration that he had a little bit here today. And thank you to Alex for running double duty on the cameras and the commentary again. So we'll look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thank you all.
And it is Absolutely incredible! Ding dong, are we going to see a race now? And into the pit lane. What's the strategy going to be? Bingo! It's my game!